Hey guys, it's Dr. Braddock. It's a beautiful summer afternoon. I'm out here by the pool. My kids have abandoned me to go swim at the neighbor's house, so I couldn't help but take just 2 seconds and shoot a quick video for you because I want you to think of this pool when you understand the way that chiropractic and ear infections go together. So let me explain. In your neck, the very top bone of your neck is called the Atlas bone, right? In Greek mythology, Atlas held up the earth, right? The celestial stars. And so that Atlas bone is a 2-ounce bone, holds up a 10-pound head in an adult. And when that bone shifts one direction or the other, it starts to put pressure on those nerves. Now, those nerves go to feed and innervate what they call the eustachian tube. So when you look at your ear, from the back of your ear to the back of your throat is a tube, and that tube pumps like this. And it pumps fluid back and forth, okay? That's the eustachian tube. In adults, in a child, that tube is relatively horizontal. In adults, as our face matures and elongates, that tube begins to have a tilt on it. And so that's why we rarely, I don't say rarely, but usually don't see as many ear infections in adults because the gravity itself, even if the tube is not pumping, the muscle's not pumping, the gravity drains that eustachian tube. In a child, if that eustachian tube is not pumping the fluid back and forth and it sits there, it becomes stagnant. So you can imagine right now if we were to go turn, it's like 100 degrees today easily. If we were to go turn the motor off to this pool and the pump off and leave it off and come back this same time next week, what do you think the pool's going to look like? It's not going to be blue water, right? It's going to be green, stagnant water full of algae. Simply because the circulation has stopped. If it sits still, it becomes stagnant. The same thing happens in a child's ear. When that bone shifts out of position and puts pressure on the nerves, the tube no longer pumps. It turns the motor off. The fluid sits there and becomes stagnant or infected in this case. So if I were a pool guy, and I believe it or not, I used to be a pool guy, if I were to show up to a pool and it was totally green, the pump's off, and all I did was dump a giant bucket of shock in the pool, the one thing I've done is I've disinfected the pool. If you dump enough shock in there, enough chlorine, the pool will turn blue to some degree. But if that's all I did and I waited and I came back the next week, what's the pool in situation again? It's green, right? Because no one actually turned the pump back on. No one actually restored circulation. And so the same thing happens in a child's ear. We tend to have a child with an ear infection. A lot of times the first line of defense is an antibiotic. And if you give a child an antibiotic, at that point you are killing that bad pathogen. You know, you're disinfecting that pool, that ear, if you will. But so many times I speak with parents that have struggled with one antibiotic after another, and it seems like the ear infections are reoccurrent until maybe a tube surgery or something invasive like that is scheduled. Now, when we adjust a child, we use about the same amount of pressure that you would put on your own eyeball. Okay, so it's not, if you've ever been adjusted by a chiropractor yourself, there's no, it's a very gentle, mild adjustment. There's no twisting or rotation of the baby's head. They love it. And it is so effective at taking the pressure off the nerves, which so often we see the resolution of ear infections and so many other conditions. So if you're watching this video and you know somebody who has a child with ear infections, or you know somebody who knows somebody who has a child with ear infections, or you had a child with ear infections and 10 years ago and you wish you would have seen this video, the only thing I ask is that you share it. Hope you guys have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you soon. God bless.